I think Mr. Khan should do with the AEW, because he's on the CW, right, on the CW app. He really needs to insist on being on the CW, and then he needs to have a crossover with the Supernatural show. Remember that show that was on for 15 years on the CW, and they're trying to make season 16 or something? They need to have a crossover episode where those guys are involved. That would be cool, and that would really boost his brand. Because what they're trying to do in the Wyatt 6, I don't think they quite have it all nailed down on the WWE. Of course, they're kind of crossing over with the Pat McAfee show, with the Wyatt 6 and Triple H and WWE. Mr. Khan could do the same thing for AEW. He could get a crossover with Supernatural, or pick any show you want. They're kind of doing that with the Wyatt 6, with Pat McAfee. I think they're just in the very beginning stages of how to have a crossover between the meta reality, the fantasy reality of the wrestling and on these two big companies, and then with these fantasy shows and sports shows, and how everyone kind of plays along with it. It'd be super cool. And Pat McAfee gets it. I think he gets it. That's why he's in it. He's a big WWE fan. He's a Triple H fan. Was a Colts player, so he gets it. But I think they need to really have it more streamlined. So for the AEW, because I want them to succeed too, I'm not against them. He needs to go to CW and say, hey, I want to have a crossover episode with the Supernatural, or pick a show or create a show for them and have a crossover. But the Supernatural would be cool, because that would bring a lot of fans into the AEW. Be a lot of fans in there. You could do some kind of Supernatural episode where they're wrestling monsters, or I don't know, whatever the heck. Meanwhile, over on the WWE, they really need to have that. They need to figure out what can they cross over into. Now, they're going to Netflix. They got Pat McAfee. They could pick a fantasy show on Netflix, and there's crossover episodes between all these different. It's like a matrix of. It's a multiverse of where everything kind of goes through the WWE ring from all these various shows, including Pat McAfee, and maybe even some outlier NFL programs. So our reality intersects with all these other realities. To me, that would be super cool. And I think a lot of people are missing this. I think they don't quite have it down what they're trying to do. And I'm trying to help them. I'm trying to write an episode for them. So for the WWE, you can have, an episode with Pat McAfee at the Colts Stadium, or, some fantasy show that, is allied with the WWE. Meanwhile, Mr. Khan and AEW, they've got the CW, they've got the platform for these supernatural shows like Supernatural and Smallville and all that stuff they ran for years. They need to bring that back in there to help the AEW. That's what I would do. I guess I got to write an episode for them or something. But me, just thinking out loud, with the CW, with the Supernatural guys, they're just an episode where there's some kind of magic talisman they got to have. And they find out that they actually have to become wrestlers, and they have to wrestle these demons. And then, of course, the AEW has to help them fight this. And they get the talisman, and then, of course, the universe is repaired and fixed and all that. And they go on with their quest. I don't know why that would be a problem. And that would bring a lot more fans into wrestling, and people introduce it. Now, having said that, there's a lot of other wrestling that we need support, like the Ohio Valley Wrestling, and is it Paradigm Wrestling? I think we're going to go see Paradigm down in New Albany, Indiana. They seem like they're mixed martial arts and MMA. Yeah, but you want to support the local guys too, because that's where wrestling came from, and ultimately the support is going to be at the grassroots, because you want to get people at the grassroots involved to bring it in. So that's my take. I really don't understand why there's this negativity towards the Wyatt 6 and the whole Supernatural thing, or the mystery, or whatever's going on there. I think it's cool. I think it brings other people interested in. I've showed people who have no interest in wrestling at all, and they see that, and they're you can tell it's not really their thing, but they're kind of intrigued, like, what's going on there? So I think what Triple H, those guys are trying, they're trying to get that fantasy supernatural fan who's already in the world of suspension of belief with fantasies and magical things and stuff like that, Lord of the Rings and The Witcher and all that kind of stuff, and bring them in. I think it's a great idea. I don't know why there's so much negativity. Me, I'm all for it. I've given you guys some good ideas. Let's make it happen.